I had never really thought of making love to him in this form. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. In his human form, absolutely. But not with him as the demon he truly was. Would it be different than what I expected? Would it be exactly as I imagined it? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I bit my lower lip, letting the curiosity fester in my mind. A bit.
Huh? What's with the look?
Uh, Nothing. I'm not thinking about anything if that's what you're implying. Yeah. I'm just, in my own little world. Not thinking about having sex with you in your demon form. Yeah, that's totally not it.
Will you follow me, embrace through this war we're deep within? I can't go through it alone, and I won't leave you on your own. I stand before you now and promise you I am not afraid. I will fight and guide the way. We will rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe. We're unstoppable, powerful, enough to beat the odds. If you love me, you will see the flames inside of me.
Sup guys, the name's Ryan Dragnet and welcome back to Seduce Me to the Demon War. So last we left off, Sarah was being a dick. And Sergeant is pretty cool. And now we wake up to morning. I don't know what's gonna happen. I do, but you don't. And let us find out together. I didn't expect to wake up with a hand over my mouth with an arm tight around my waist. I tried to focus my vision, but as the sensation of my situation set in, I gasped and struggled to see who was keeping me captive.
Quiet.
Sarah, if you don't get your hands off of me, I will shank you right now. You have been proven to be a huge dick yesterday. So, let the fuck go of me. Anyways, I stared wide-eyed, seeing Sarah staring ahead of us as he kept my mouth shut and held me against him with his other arm. What was even stranger was that he was using his holy magic, disabling me to use any of my energy to fight back. You little bitch! What the hell? I looked ahead of us to see a sight I never wanted to see. Diana straddling over Sam's waist as he slept. Are you fucking kidding me? Looking down at him with pure concentration. Get the fuck off of him, Diana. I love you. Just get the fuck off of him. What was she doing now? Did this have something to do with what happened last night? I'm pretty sure that's not correct, sweetie.
Patience, child.
You're involved with this. I hate you so much right now. I hate you so much right now. I froze at the sound of the voice in my head. The voice was in on this act too?
She's merely following instructions. No harm will come to him.
Oh, so if she's following instructions, she's gonna hate doing this. Or what is she going to do? Might as well be patient. This was another test. Another trial Sam had to go through. What kind of elaborate scheme was this? Honey, you're about to find out. Looking at Diana, however, I could tell that she didn't want to do whatever the voice had instructed. But that means it had to be something sexual or something. Probably. Her lips were curved in an almost disgusted grimace as she looked down at Sam. Diana let out a small sigh before pressing her index finger into the top of her head and dragging it down her face, between her eyes, and all the way down to her crotch. What the? The line that formed on Diana's skin seemed to grow and envelop her body in a strange purple light, changing her skin and almost shrinking her form. As the magic finally settled and faded away, I gasped at the sight. Diana's new body was my own, only without clothes. I hate this voice right now. I hate it. No wonder she hates it. No wonder Diana hates what she's doing. Every curve, every crevice of her body matched mine, and even the voice that came out of her mouth perfectly mirrored my own. Oh no. Do I have to say? Do I have to do this? No, I don't want to do this. I'm going to do it anyway. I have to do it. Sam, wake up. I felt nauseous watching her run her fingers along Sam's hair, just like I would. How the hell did she know anything about how Sam and I interacted intimately? Oh, jeez. This is creepy. Oh, wow, the next line. This was creepy and gross, and I felt myself naturally struggle against Sarah to be free. Sam's eyes fluttered open and adjusted to the sight of me, quotes me, straddling over his hips. As Diana gave him my perfect smile, I mentally panicked. What was he going to do? Would he fall for this? No way. There was no way. Sam's eyes trailed up and down Diana's body, just like how he would with me whenever he saw me without clothes. My heart was breaking a bit at the sight.
Get the fuck off me.
Oh shit, he could tell. Wait, oh no, not this. I'd anything but this. Wait, what? Gah! I gasped as Sam suddenly sat up, gripped Diana's neck, and began to squeeze. Instinctively, Sarah tightened his hold on me, most likely struggling to obey previous commands to stay put. Sarah, I'm in this as much as you. I want to bust in there and just just grip Sam, and you grip Diana, and yeah, all that.
What the fuck do you think you're doing, bitch?
Oh shit. I hate this. I hate doing this. I hate doing this. Even though it's not me, I just hate doing this. Gah! Sam! Stop! A large part of me felt relief that Sam could see whatever illusion Diana threw on herself. The smaller part of me began to fear Diana's neck being snapped because of it. She continued to act like me to perfection as she gripped Sam's wrists. It was mildly scary to see Sam holding Diana, who looked like a copycat of me. In a strange, messed up way, it was like watching a movie where I was a character in the scene, watching the man I love act with the actress playing me. The more I watched Sam crush Diana's neck, the more I could imagine him doing that to me, which made me fearful. He would never hurt me, but to see it happening to someone who looked and acted like me was another thing.
If this is some kind of fucked up joke to you, I will end you right now!
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Diana began to cry, most likely losing air from Sam's death choke on her. As she coughed, her body began to quake from lack of oxygen. Please! Sam! It's me!
Shut the fuck up!
Sam released a hand from Diana's neck and pushed it into her stomach, lifting her off of him and shoving her off of his lap and against the far wall. Diana crumpled against the floor, curling herself over as she coughed violently and shook from the pain that racked through her. From the pain that wow. I just realized that was like a spelling error. Obviously raked through her. Okay. Sam, however, jumped out of bed and walked at Diana, glaring down at her.
You're not her. Where is she, Diana?
Oh, jeez. This is sad now. Diana looked up at him, tears rushing down my eyes as she gripped her neck. Sam! It's me! Stop it! Blech. Sam quickly lifted his foot, causing Diana to flinch and cover herself with her hands over her head, bracing for impact. While I expected Sam to fall for Diana's trick at the sight of my weakness, he let the kick he was charging up fly into Diana's stomach, slamming her against the wall. He didn't stop, however. slamming his foot again into her, rebounding her against the wall like a soccer ball. Do I really? Ugh!
Where is she?
My body began to quake at the sight of Sam kicking Diana, who very much continued to act like me despite the barrage of pain Sam was inflicting on her. This was messed up and wrong. Why was Diana doing this? Why was she letting this happen?
She is following my instructions as I demanded.
Fuck your instructions, man! Fuck your directions! I was close. I was close. Fuck your directions! I began to grow fearful of Sam, instinctively placing myself in Diana's place. It was only natural since she was acting like me right now. Deep in my heart, I knew Sam would never do this to me. But the fear began to fester at the sight of him beating down an image of me.
Fear not, child. He knows very well who he is attacking. I can hear his heart crying as yours is now.
What do you mean?
He despises doing this, but you have become the priority over the illusion. He pretends to see the succubus as she really is, as he tries to get his answer.
That's smart, to be honest.
A truly interesting demon.
You got that right. I shut my eyes. Diana was doing a job and Sam obviously saw through it. He wasn't attacking me. He was attacking Diana for tricking him and assuming she was hiding me from him. I only opened my eyes again to see Sam lift Diana by the throat and pin her to the wall, forming a sword in his free hand and lining the tip between her eyes. Even with the blade mere inches away from her face, Diana continued the act, crying and shaking in fear. No! Why? 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 Just why? Maurice!
I will kill you!
Within a blink, the hold on me vanished and Sam flew back from Diana, releasing her and slamming into the far wall. Sarah just, thank you for stopping it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're still a dick, but thank you. I crumpled to the ground and quickly looked up to see Sarah holding Diana close to his side as his form emanated a holy white aura. His eyes burned intense, deadly hatred as a white-tinted magical barrier surrounded his and Diana's bodies.
Enough!
Sam shook his head and jumped up, but at the sight of the real me, he instantly dropped his sword and tackled me, wrapping his arms around me and hugging me tightly. Sam! It's okay. I'm here. I'm here. I need to pet your head. There. I don't know why I'm thinking of this. I just like petting people's hair.
Holy shit! You're okay!
Sam! I stared into his shoulder, feeling him shake violently as he held me. My body couldn't help but shudder with him, feeling every ounce of his love as he gripped me tightly. He knew where his heart belonged, and I led him back to me, even with unbelievable odds attempting to sway him. I wrapped my arms around Sam and buried my face into his shoulder, nodding to him. I'm right here, Sam. Sam refused to let go, digging his fingers into my shirt and pulling me even closer still to his chest. I could feel his heartbeat pound against his chest as he pressed me against him. I, however, peeked over Sam's shoulder to see Diana shift back from my image to her own form, collapsing against Sarah. With ease, Sarah lifted Diana into his arms like she was a bride who had fainted, but continued to glare at the back of Sam's head. To be honest, he had no choice in the matter, Sarah, so it's partially your fault. Mostly the voice's fault. Anyways, finally, Sam lifted his head and looked at Sarah, growing a glare of his own.
Tell that bitch to stay away from me if she wants to keep breathing.
Please tell her that.
I can hear you, brute.
Tell him the truth, man. Just tell him the truth. Sam was completely right to be angry. He had every right to want her to stay away from him. However, he also deserved to know the truth of why they did what they did. Sam, they had to. Sam looked at me with a confused look mixed with anger, still emanating from his rage at Diana, no doubt. I gripped Sam's shoulders and forced him to fully face me. There's this voice that keeps saying you're being tested. It said that Diana and Sarah are following its orders and testing you. I knew I was making little to no sense, but it was the truth of the matter. Sam had to believe me. His eyes continued to flood with confusion, making me worried.
She's telling the truth.
I didn't ask you, bitch.
She doesn't need your permission to speak, mutt.
Sam closed his eyes and pressed his lips together, most likely taking in what they had said before he glared at Sarah and Diana.
Why?
Sarah continued to glare at Sam in silence, but Diana lifted her head and looked to Sam from Sarah's arms.
Because it said it will ensure our victory.
Sam raised an eyebrow, slowly starting to believe that this was a false reason, but I held his arm, looking to him in hope and earnest. Sam took a moment to look at me before sighing and shaking his head.
What said that?
Some powerful being. I don't know why, but I can feel that this being is more powerful than any of us.
Oh, snap. Then we could really use his help then. If he could stop being a dick first.
Is that it?
Diana nodded and rested her head on Sarah's chest, causing him to hug her body against him.
It won't speak its name, but we're certain we'll find out what it is.
Okay. Sam nodded before looking to the ground.
Can you go now?
Without another word, Sarah walked out of the room with Diana, most likely to help her recover for the training day ahead.
I'm going to kick the shit out of him in training.
Good luck with that. Seriously, Diana, good luck with that. At last, we were alone. I let out a sigh and wrapped my arms around Sam, laying my forehead against his shoulder. You okay?
No, I'm not. Whatever this thing that keeps testing me is, it got you involved.
Sam wrapped his arms around me and buried his head in my hair, letting out an aggravated sigh.
I'm sorry. Diana was pretending to be you, and I just...
I could hear the regret in his voice, slightly breaking my heart. I knew deep down that he would never hurt me and that he was just trying to find me. I was wise enough to know the reason for his anger. It's okay, Sam. Sam was distraught and I needed to ease his worries. I understood him perfectly. I hugged Sam to me and kissed his cheek as he trembled in my arms. Ah, that's gonna make me sad. He wrapped his arms back around me and simply let silence pass between us.
What the fuck is going on?
I didn't know what to say, so I simply held him until it was time to train. Training! I headed towards the west side of the castle, knowing Sergeant would either be there outside expecting me or would arrive there shortly after me. Nevertheless, I was ready to train again with him. Hi! What I wasn't expecting was to see another male in the field, branding a large warhammer. He seemed very intimidating, but I seemed to be less threatened than when I first met Sergeant. He, however, had a hard gaze in my direction. Who?
Human, you do not belong here.
What? I stared at the stranger, seeing him raise his warhammer and slam it into the ground in front of him. As the hammer impacted, the earth began to quake and a large crack in the earth began to form, tearing its way towards me. Jump! I instantly jumped up, forcing energy beneath my feet to push me higher into the air. As I did, the crack in the earth ripped through the spot I was standing on previously. I quickly landed beside the broken earth, glaring hard at the stranger and labeling him as an enemy in my mind.
Attack if you dare, human!
Oh, jeez. I felt myself snarl as rage suddenly bubbled in my core, causing me to rush forward and wind up in front of him with a raised fist. I slammed my fist into the being's chest, but quickly broke out of my rage state as my hit didn't send him flying back. The pain that jolted through my hand caused me to jump back and grip my fingers tightly. It was like trying to deck a steel wall. I was pretty sure I had broken my hand from the force I put behind it. Gah! What the hell? I quickly looked at my opponent as he lifted his warhammer and arched it to slam down onto my body. The pain within my hand coursed through my body, leaving me frozen.
Enough!
Sergeant, what is the meaning of this? The hammer stopped its descent toward me, freezing right above my head. I stared at the surface that would have crushed me, slightly shaking at the realization of the situation. I could have been pulverized. I slowly looked over to Sergeant to see him walking over from the forest line. The stranger lifted his warhammer and rested it on his shoulder as he stepped back from me. This was planned?
Your hand all right?
I looked down at my hand at my hand, fully taking in the sight of how mangled it had become. It was quickly swelling and bruising, and I could feel the dislocation of a couple of fingers. Shit, that's gotta be painful. Maybe it was the adrenaline rushing through me that blocked me from screaming at that pain. Or maybe this was me getting stronger. Okay, sweetie. Okay. Sergeant grimaced at the sight and walked over, taking my hand and observing it.
Yeah, it's fucked up pretty good.
Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Obvious.
I'm sorry, sir.
Nah, you did your job. Stand down for now, Danthulir.
I looked to the stranger to see him nod and take another step back away from me. Sergeant, however, grasped my hand, causing a jolt of pain to rush down my arm. Ow! He clasped my hand, weaving his fingers between mine and burying his fingertips into my knuckles, causing another rush of pain. Instinctively, I tried to pull away, but his grip was tight, wanting me to stay put or I would cause more damage to this already wounded hand. I stared at my hand, seeing Sergeant form red energy around it. While it was gravely uncomfortable to feel the muscles and bones in my hands shift and shudder under my skin, I felt my hand slowly healing and the swelling die down. Soon enough, my hand looked completely undamaged. Sergeant released my hand and crossed his arms.
There. Better?
I observed my hand a little longer, bending my fingers and moving my hand through the air. There was no pain nor was there any discomfort. It was completely healed. I looked up at Sergeant and smiled, nodding. Yeah, thank you. Sergeant gave me a simple nod before becoming stern.
Now, why do you think your attack didn't work?
I took a moment to think of the answer. There were many things I could have been wrong. I looked at Danthulir, observing him now that I had the chance to without my rage-tinted vision. He definitely looked strong, but not strong enough to be a wall of steel. Then again, he was no training dummy either, and I couldn't decimate one of those even after a full day of training. He had pretty tough-looking pecs. I pressed my lips together, trying to come up with an answer. I'm too weak. No. I don't know. That seems to be the most logical answer. Because saying, I'm too weak, it's like saying you're giving up and stuff. So, no. Not that. I don't know. Of course, I kind of know. It's aiming for his chest, which is what broke our hand in the first place. It made sense. His chest was built like a fortress. Add on the fact that he was obviously a demon and you had a recipe for a normal-sized Hercules. There was no way I was going to break through this to his ribs. Sergeant nodded.
He's my right-hand guy. Trained him for years and helped him become a living tank. Not even a sharp blade can cut through his chest.
Oh shit! I stared wide-eyed at Danthulir as he nodded and pounded his chest with his fist. I could almost hear the hardness of his skin bounce underneath his armor. Sergeant stepped towards Danthulir and turned to face me, pointing a thumb at him.
You're fighting a demon. We're not weak like you humans are. We are faster, stronger, and no more than your entire race could ever understand.
Gee, thanks for pointing that out. I glared a bit. The insults at my race were uncalled for, but Sergeant crossed his arms, settling into his powerful stance to remind me of who is in charge.
But demons are mortal. We all have our flaws. You just need to know how to find them.
That can be arranged. Well, how am I supposed to find them? He attacked me as soon as he saw me.
Welcome to war, human. No one gives a shit if you're ready or not, and they'd rather see you dead than in their way.
That's true. That's true. You gotta be ready for anything that could attack you, basically. A harsh reality. He was right. I was going to go into a war and I was going to get attacked without a second thought, especially because I was human. I nodded and looked to the floor, causing Sergeant to let out a sigh.
Listen, there's this story we used to pass around in our tribes to inspire our young. Want to hear it?
Sure. I looked back up at Sergeant, raising an eyebrow but nodding out of curiosity. Sergeant stretched his neck to the side and looked to the sky.
Long time ago, a pair of demons were after the marriage of a grand chief. One was as strong as 1,000 men and could lift an entire castle off the ground with her hand. The other was meek, but he was as loyal as a person could possibly be.
Whoa.
The chief demanded that they fight for his hand, and so, a mighty duel was called at the edge of the highest mountain. Both demons faced off, and when the battle began, the mighty demon struck first, causing the meek demon to defend himself.
I began to imagine it in my head. A large battle between a monster demoness and a small and frail demon. The demoness had the upper hand, but something told me the meeker demon would win. Sergeant continued. It's kind of like with the tortoise and the hare, where slow and steady wins the race. You all thought Rabbit would win, but the turtle won because Rabbit decided to take a nap in the middle of the race because he's like, I'm gonna win. It's kind of like with this story. The demoness is like, I'm gonna win because I'm stronger, but the demon is just probably gonna find some way to defeat her. Something like that.
The weak demon ducked and dodged every attack the larger demon threw at him until finally, he spotted a weakness and used it. With all of his might, the demon plunged his small dagger into his opponent's hand, rendering her weaponless.
See advantages of weaker demons.
The smaller demon won and became one of the most powerful brute demons of his time with the noble chieftain at his side.
Ooh, nice. Wow. Sergeant raised an eyebrow at me.
Do you understand now? There's a reason why weaker demons still survive in battle. Just use your brain.
Yeah, I could do that. Don't worry. I can. I think I can. I nodded, understanding his lesson. I had to take my time and find a weakness. Danthulier was a new opponent, someone I didn't know. Everything about him was a mystery to me, and I had to learn about him to properly fight back. Sergeant nodded to me before walking away towards the tree line, stopping and turning to lean against the bark of the tree. He managed to land by.
Danthulier, beat her ass to the ground.
Well, that was a quick turnaround. Okay. Give me all you got. Give me your best shot. I'll take you down right now. Wait. What? I suddenly looked at Danthulier, seeing him quickly take up his warhammer and attempt to slam it down onto my head. Luckily, I was able to jump back in time, seeing the hammer slam once again into the ground and form a small crater in the earth. That could have been me. I focused my gaze onto Danthulier, preparing to dodge another attack. My rage flared and the red tint to my vision came back, causing my opponent to be covered in a black aura. What surprised me, however, was how it was configured. Certain parts of his body were pulsing with energy, while others barely had the black aura emanating from them. I hadn't noticed it before until I focused on it. I barely reacted in time to a second attack from Danthulier's warhammer because of how focused I became. I had to put the battle into perspective. I was fighting him, but at the same time I had to study him. Excuse my yawns. It was the most difficult multitasking I'd ever had to do. The barrage of attacks continued, and I continued to duck and dodge each one. At the same time, I tried to find some way to fight back. I couldn't dodge forever. Then, I saw it. His warhammer wasn't glowing at all. If I was correct, then it was a simple warhammer. There was my answer. But what was I going to do with it? I quickly noted the build of it. It was a solid hammer with an intricately wrapped pommel. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced that right. However, there had to be a weak spot on it, something that would break it like an Achilles heel. As I dodged another attack, I managed to glimpse a small crack in the hammer. It was small, but if I knew anything about cracking material, then I knew that if I applied my attack directly onto it, I had a chance to split the hammer open. I smirked as I fully let my rage consume my thoughts. making the warhammer my target. I charged at Danthulier at full speed and leapt into the air, bringing a hand back while he recovered from his previous attack. With the crack of the hammer as my mark, I swing and slammed my hand into it, causing it to rupture and split open.
What?
Ha! Gotcha, bitch! The only thing left of the hammer was the pommel, which left his hand wide open for me. I snarled and kicked his wrist, making him drop it and step back.
Enough!
Immediately, Danthulier jumped back, rubbing his hand with an amused but slightly proud smirk on his face. I jumped back as well, focused on breathing and calming down. As the red haze vanished from my sight, I looked to the approaching sergeant. I blushed a bit as he gave me a couple claps of approval.
Now you're thinking like a warrior.
I couldn't stop the wide arcing smile across my face. I felt extremely proud that I was praised like a warrior. I wasn't anywhere close to how Danthulier was, but for the work I had done, I was getting there. As the day went on, I was given more obstacles to deal with. I had to maneuver around dummies to get to my target, and then fight off 2 attackers at once. It was a mind-boggling experience, but I managed to get through them in the end. However, I could tell something was on Sergeant's mind. By the end of training, Sergeant couldn't tear his eyes away from the castle. I eventually looked over to barely see a figure standing by a balcony. Who was he staring so hard at? A hand on my shoulder broke me from my thoughts, causing me to look over at Sergeant in surprise.
You're done for the day. Get some rest. Prepare yourself for tomorrow.
All right then. I slowly made my way into the room and sat back onto the bed, letting a rush of exhaustion run through me like a wave of water. I shut my eyes and fell back onto the mattress with a soft thud. We were a handful of days away, and I wasn't sure how we were going to handle it, now that we were apparently being tested on top of it.
You have nothing to fear from me, child.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you really, really sure? I just realized I copied one of Malix's quotes in the first game. Wow. Okay. I didn't even have the strength to care or sit back up. I didn't even have the strength or care to sit back up. Okay, I let out a sigh and continued to stare at the ceiling, greeting the voice in my head with a grimace. Why are you doing this? Why not just test him yourself?
One cannot be tested if they are not ready for the consequences.
What? That got me to sit up. I looked to the fireplace, remembering the dream I had of Sam being burnt alive. A shudder ran through my spine as the voice chuckled.
You know what will happen if he is not worthy of my power.
Why kill him? Why not just send him away and, yeah. But why must he take it?
He wishes to kill the Abomination Demon Lord, correct?
Yeah, true. Very true indeed. My anger flared. How is this being so high and mighty of himself? Diana and Sarah seemed to respect him for his power, but if he was so powerful, then why wasn't he here himself testing Sam? The voice answered my thought.
I am bound to the dark, as I have always been for eons.
Sorry, I was yawning. What? Eons?
Yes, child. My kind and I have lived within the depths of the abyssal plains ever since the dawn of time, feeding off of the ashes of the dead and granting the world above us peace.
Peace? Was the being some kind of underground creature? How was it able to communicate through fire then?
We are all powerful, child. Should we desire it, we could bring the world to its knees and drown it in endless flame.
Okay. From the power behind his voice, I could tell that he was telling the truth. A violent shiver ran up my spine as I imagined the castle and the land around us completely covered in flames. The voice, however, continued.
Fear not, however. We care little for the world above.
Well, that's good then, I guess. Then why get involved now with the Demon Lord?
The Demon Lord is a mad abomination undeserving of the power of the demon world. For what is to come, he must be eliminated.
I agree with you there, bro. Agree with you there. What do you mean? What's to come?
Talking to the voice?
Oh, hi, Sam. I mean, hello, nurse. Ah, jeez. I need to stop. I need to stop. But yeah, you're your demon form, and I like that. Okay. I quickly looked to the door to see Sam staring at me intensely. What surprised me was that how he was in demon form. I could only assume that his glamour spell vanished from how much energy he had used in training. I nodded and looked to the fire. The voice was telling me about itself. It apparently lives beneath the demon world. I hoped that Sam knew what it was. Whatever this thing was, it seemed to think of itself as the most powerful being in the world, which I couldn't verify if it was unknown to me. Sam, however, cocked an eyebrow.
So it's a dragon.
Hold up. A dragon? That's like my favorite fantasy being. Besides, no, that's my only favorite fantasy being that I can think of right now. That's cool. That's really cool. Wait. What? I shot my head at Sam, both confused and thrown off at the answer. A dragon? A dragon? When did that become part of the list of the demons in the world? How are dragons even remotely related to demons? Sam stared at my face and laughed before walking over and ruffling my hair.
What? You didn't think they were real?
No. I mean, anything's possible at this rate. But a dragon? How is that possible? The voice in my head laughed at my surprise, but what shocked me was that Sam reacted as well to the laughter, looking around the room in shock.
The fuck?
That would be me too.
I am surprised that you know of what I am. Oh, Maurice.
Call me Sam.
You choose to acknowledge your human name.
Yeah, I do. Got a problem with that?
You become more interesting to me every day that passes, Sam.
Thanks. Now why the fuck are you testing me?
Do you wish to kill the Demon Lord?
I watched a flage. What? Where did that come from? Flage. I watched a flash of rage rush across Sam's eyes as he nodded, painting his gaze to the fire before us and seeing the same eyes I had seen before appear within the flames.
Yeah, I do.
Then I will grant you my power, if you are worthy to take it.
What? If I'm worthy? What's that supposed to mean?
The voice ignored Sam and focused its attention on me.
Child, you should prepare for tomorrow. You will be tested as well.
Why me? Why me? I don't want to be tested. Me? I stared into the fire, now slightly afraid of what the test this thing had in store for me. Okay, sorry. Would it have Diana disguise herself as Sam? Could Diana even do that? I didn't want to assume that it would use the same trick twice. The possibilities were endless. I shook my head and took a breath. I had to be strong and show that I wasn't afraid. All right, I'll be ready.
Such confidence for a human.
I am full of confidence. With that, the eyes vanished from the flames and Sam looked to me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders.
You alright?
Yes, I'm okay. I was nervous. There was no way I could have been alright. Yet, deep in my gut, I knew that everything was going to be okay. I had to be confident in my skills that I was ready for whatever this thing threw my way. I nodded to Sam, seeing him smile a bit. I gave him a little smug smile and flexed my arm. I'll be okay. Let me at it! Sam laughed, now relaxed, and gently nudged me.
Good. Now kick the test's ass, whatever it is.
Hell yeah, I will. I nodded softly. I had to breathe. Everything would be okay. As I took a deep breath, I took a moment to take in that Sam was still in demon form. I chuckled a bit and touched his horns, which I found hilarious as they protruded from the sides of his head like handlebars. Handlebars! Yay! I'm so sorry. I instantly thought of that picture that I found on Tumblr, like with Mika just sitting on top of Sam and riding him like a horse. And I'm just like, oh, that's so hilarious, because he does look like that, to be honest. Come on, you guys gotta agree with me, right? They look like handlebars. To ride on. To sit on Sam and just hold on to him. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm never going to get used to you in this form.
Huh? Oh, shit! I forgot to turn back. Sorry!
I stared at Sam as he stepped back and looked down at his form in surprise. As he rubbed the back of his head, I could see the comfort he had in what was his true form. While it wasn't totally different from his human form, he still had horns and the incubus taint on his skin. Sam shook his head and began to charge his energy.
I'll change back.
No, don't change. I love you like this. You're hot. You're my bae and you're hot. Eric, you're still my bae, but Sam, you're my bae too. Okay. Sam was comfortable in that form. If he was exhausted, then he didn't have to use more energy to glamour himself. I held out my hand and walked over, placing it on his chest and stopping him.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. You don't have to. Sam stared for the longest time before smiling and nodding. I was happy to know that he was considerate enough to consider my feelings, but if he was happy in his true form, then I didn't mind sleeping beside it. As I looked at him, though, a dangerous curiosity crept over me. I had never really thought of making love to him in this form. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. In his human form, absolutely, but not with him as the demon he truly was. Would it be different than what I expected? Would it be exactly as I imagined it? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I bit my lower lip, letting the curiosity fester in my mind a bit.
Huh? What's with the look?
Nothing. I'm not thinking about anything, if that's what you're implying. Yeah, I'm just, in my own little world. Not thinking about having sex with you in your demon form. Yeah, that's totally not it. I didn't notice the expression on my face. The expression my face was making as I stared at Sam's body, causing me to jerk my gaze up into Sam's eyes and shake my head. Huh? Nothing!
Nothing, huh?
Yeah, it's nothing. Trust me, man. Oh boy. Sam slowly began to stalk towards me, forcing me to step back and eventually lean against the wall with him, placing his arms on either sides of my head. I was trapped and could only stare up at my captor.
I think you're staring at me and thinking bad things.
No? I think he got us. I felt my heart rush into my throat and silence me as I gazed into Sam's emerald eyes, which oh so slightly dilated in a small form of lust. Now I'd done it. Sam chuckled and leaned in close, touching his nose to mine.
So, you gonna tell me the truth?
Ooh, we get to choose. We get to choose about if we have the sexy time or not. Why not? He's in his demon form. Take initiative because he's a demon in the demon form. We can have that chance to have sex with him now. I want to test it. So, give you 3 seconds if you don't want to see this. I'm pretty sure all of you do, but I'm still giving 3 seconds to those who don't want to see this sex scene and skip it. 3, 2, 1. Are all of you still here with me? Or all of you skipped? Have all of you skipped? Who wanted to skip? Let's take initiative and get the sexy time on. Sam thought he had the upper hand. However, I knew how to make him go crazy. I leaned forward and locked lips with him, making him gasp against my mouth. I slyly wrapped my arms around his neck and pulled him close, letting him know that he was right and that he had better make good on my thoughts. Sam pushed forward, groaning softly and pinning me to the wall with his body. I felt my hands roam his skin. It was so strange. There was no difference in texture of Sam's green marks from his skin, almost as if the marks were part of his physical nude appearance. Still, I could feel the power Sam carried just from touch and passion alone. Sam was definitely strong, and he only reaffirmed my mental assessment as he gripped onto my hips and lifted me up higher on the wall and made me wrap my legs around him. Unconsciously, I gripped onto his horns, causing him to growl almost animalistically against my lips and make me gasp at the sound. I stared wide-eyed at Sam, seeing his eyes glow slightly. Did I hurt you?
No.
I became lost in his eyes as he began to deeply enthrall me, the small ring of green around his lustful, blown pupils glowing gold as the spell took hold. I released a heavy moan before gripping his horns hard and pulling him back to me for a kiss. His kisses became eager and wild, like grabbing hold of his horns was a turn-on for him. Was it? Sam zipped us back to the bed with his inhumane speed and settled himself with me in his lap, and him sitting back against the bedpost. His hands began to wander along my body, trying to control themselves from simply tearing through the fabric dividing us. In my own desire and need, I quickly forced myself away from Sam's lips and touched my nose to his, staring deep into his eyes as I began to undo every bit of clothing and strip them off of me before tossing them to who knew where. Thankfully, he was already bare for me, so that was one less outfit in our way. As I finally became fully bare above him, Sam wrapped his hands around my waist and adjusted himself to kneel on his knees. Me straddled over him. We didn't even need to play to know that this was going to be a rough ride. Hey, I'm so sorry. Okay, I just love that picture in general, cause the smirk on his face, it's like a cocky smirk, but it's a sexy smirk, and it's like, Sam, I love you. I settled my hands back on Sam's horns, my lustful eyes burning into his as he guided me and smirked a toothy grin at me.
You better hang on.
Oh, I will. As my entire body became rushed with ecstasy, I couldn't stop the loud and wild moan from escaping my body or from my eyes rolling back in wild euphoria. My world rocked with waves and pulses of pleasure and desire. The room around us, the smell of sweat in the air, it all became irrelevant as I made hard love to the man beneath me, clinging to his horns like handlebars. Hey! The harder we went, the louder we became. My vision was blurred in pure ecstasy, and I could feel nothing but pleasure rushing through me and Sam's horns within my grasp. Soon, the entire room almost quaked at the sound of our passion. Ooh, thought I spit into the microphone. As we peaked, we released a simultaneous scream and howl of carnal euphoria before wrapping our arms around each other and panting wildly. The sweat between us tingled with the heat in the air, making us shiver in each other's arms. I was in utter bliss, and Sam soothed me and held me close as he very slowly tucked us beneath the bedsheets and held me close to him, allowing me to recover from the experience. Fucking demon style was definitely a new experience. I cuddled into Sam's embrace, nuzzling his chest and almost purring happily at the warmth that emanated from it. Sam kissed my head and chuckled.
You alright?
I'm all good, yo. I said yo again. Someone please slap me. I'm alright. I'm alright though, Sam. Alright. I could only nod before feeling myself pass out. Sam followed soon after, both of us becoming lost in the dark void of slumber. How are you gonna sleep with the horns sticking out like that? Not in my place to question it. I had to be ready for the trial. I half expected to wake up to Diana to be disguised as Sam as the morning came. And we'll find out in the next episode. we'll see if Diana's there disguised as Sam or if it's going to be something else. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of my videos, then click subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!